on, I gotta do this.
It is super bright in here.
It's really bright. Someone's gotta be stopped. Shannon has to be stopped with her brightness.
Wait, we'll turn it down a little bit.
No, it's good. I like it. I actually like it. It's nice. What a crazy day.
Yeah.
So we're lying in bed this morning. What time would it have been? I actually slept in.
Probably about 8:30.
8:30. And we're always taking into consideration that we're in the east now, not the west. So the west hasn't really woken up yet, but we have. But then we have to take consideration time is. Oh, look, there he is, the star of the show.
Sorry.
Cock-a-poo-poo, everyone asks us.
I'd like to be in on that.
Here, I'll bring this down for you so it can come up. It should come up right there. Boing. She has to read the comments on here, so I make sure this is down. So we wake up and I ask myself, okay, do I go on camera because I look like a boot right now? So I told Shannon, I says, okay, I got to get coffee and I'll go right down. One of the things I never do, this is about meatloaf. One of the things I never do is drink my whole coffee. I have a quad espresso every morning and an espresso machine.
He has like a couple sips and it's done.
And it's done. I don't drink it all. But I noticed when I was working really, really fast, and it's great because my voice was really low because I just woken up, that I worked really efficiently. Everything was great. And usually with an obituary, you have to get it up as fast as you can because everyone's trying to get theirs up. It's the way it goes. That's just, don't judge us. That's the nature of the beast. So I noticed the coffee was gone, all 4 espresso shots. And I put it up, and first of all, I noticed I had put that he was 75. I went, I knew he was 74. So we've got some people saying hi, I think. Oh,
hi, Christopher. Good evening.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi,
Thanks
Brian.
for joining us. Hi, Brian.
Yes, sad to hear that Meatloaf died. Me as well. Yeah.
So after that, it's strange. So I noticed, okay, with YouTube, if you make a mistake in the title, even if you change the title, for every computer that has it open, it's not going to change it automatically until it refreshes, and it takes a while to refresh. Then I noticed that I said his real name wrong because I took it from another story from a magazine I never use because I don't trust them. And I've got about 5 or 6 people that I'll usually take little pieces out of. Then I noticed I've spelled it meatloaf in one word, like the dish.
Oops.
But that was okay. A lot of people kind of let that go because people were saying buy meatloaf and they were saying it the same way. So it was just one thing after another, and then I had to stop. And then people were going, why don't you report on the fact that he might not have had his? And I went, the guy just died. We're not going to do that. And that was his choice. It's a tough choice if that's the real case. But if it was, that's his choice, and we're not going to go on and get on him today. And I'm going to move that so you can see the beautiful. Look at it in the background. Ooh. Hold on. There we are in the background.
So yeah, Brian says, yeah, so sad to hear that Meatloaf died. Paul Harris, hi John and Shannon, sad day.
Hi.
Pookie.
Martinez.
Yes, dig the shirt. I don't think you're missing any colors.
Got it in Vancouver when we were visiting because we met in Vancouver. We both lived in Vancouver for years and met in '97 in Vancouver. But we went back. I think it's the last time we went back to that French chain. They sell all kinds of really nice clothes. I can't remember their name.
Injured table tennis player says moving like a bat out of. And then Christopher says R.I.P. Louis Anderson.
Yeah, Louis Anderson was great. I mean, I mentioned it's there right behind me. You can see his face. I did one for our channel Nail Sheet, which was not supposed to be about a whole bunch of actors who died, but it was supposed to be, Shannon's going to start working on like the top 10s of movies from particular years. And we already did 5 Blonde Bombshells who died, all people that I admired. Check it out, Nail Sheet. We do all kinds of stuff like that. Love Actually. We've done things with Michael Bublé on that channel. Like the real Michael. We interviewed him.
Ron says, hello, John and Shannon.
Hi, Ron.
Carl, hello from Los Angeles. Mike Kaminsky, hi, John and Shannon. Yes, very sad day. Hi, Barry. Yes, just heard about Meatloaf. So sad, talented man. Al Broderick, hi. Hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
And Pookie said, Meatloaf's body, his choice. Much respect, gone too soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you look at that picture back there, right beside Shannon's head, you look at that picture and you look at what was his name? Paul Goddard from Atlanta. When I was the bass player from Atlanta Rhythm Section, I remember being just I couldn't believe some people say, well, that guy's a walking heart attack. And I'm going, he's obviously has some issues. And he's very thin now. He's actually survived all that. And people would always say, well, he's going to be one of the rockers who dies. I'm going, well, you don't know that, right? But I have to admit, not with Paul, I think his name was Paul Goddard. Not with him, but when I saw Meatloaf looking like that in the 70s, I was thinking too that, well, and I thought, well, why am I mad at the guy who said anything about Paul Goddard when this guy looks like he's going to turn a corner and it'll be the end for him. But he always put on a great show. It was always amazing. Someone had mentioned on my sent me a message on Messenger that said he saw the show where Meatloaf got signed for Bat Out of Hell. He played for 2 hours. And he said one of the best shows he's ever seen. And he wasn't even signed at the time. Hey, dog.
Irene. Oh, Irene Brophy. Hey, you two.
Hi,
Just put you on in the car. Just got home. So shocking this morning to hear about Meatloaf. Paul says 2022 is really taking a toll on the entertainment industry.
Every year is going to be worse than the previous year. Mark my word, because you're watching this channel. This music's important to you, and there's no way in hell that this is going to get smaller. It's going to get worse. And 2016 was bad. Yeah, I remember, but it's just going to get worse and worse. Our dog's having a good time down there.
Ron Westman said, I had some great times with Meatloaf. Gonna miss him.
Hi, Ron. How you doing, man?
Craig, good evening, peeps. Rick May, hello from Ohio. R.I.P. Meatloaf and comedian Louis Anderson. I'm 70 and running out of heroes. Heaven knows what the next 11 months have in store.
Yeah, well said. That's kind of what I was trying to say, but you said it more succinctly than me. It's just going to, 11 months to go. The New Year is always that check mark in the sand, right? Of how we've been, how we doing, where we going, but we'll see.
Spacey says, John, you always do a really good job dealing with the deaths with integrity. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hike with Mike. Hey, folks. Hi, Mike.
Hike with Mike. Hi. Nice to have you back.
Michelle says, hi. Hi, Michelle. Neil Dobson. Someone should make a documentary on Meatloaf. He deserves it.
That's a good, Neil, great point. There have been some small ones, like right now where I'm working on getting together the history of Canadian music for our Canadian channel. And I'm just amazed by how much work this is and how you can't do it. I keep going, I can't do it if I go and get this interview. Can't do it if I don't do that. But then you realize, well, if you don't get the interview, you can still talk about the person. You don't have to get interviews with everybody. But and it's a lot of work doing the people who are the people you guys would know. I forgot their names. The people who did the ZZ Top and Triumph documentaries. They'd be good. They're really good at what they do. They have it down to a science.
And Colonel Ingus, the wife and I did our first dance at our wedding.
Oh, I knew what you were doing there. Did you hear that? Don't say that title again.
What, Heaven Can Wait?
I don't know. The name of the, don't say it. Oh.
Oh.
You get it?
I get it.
You bugger. You bugger.
Took me a second to get that one.
Colonel Ingus.
That's funny.
That's a spicy. Okay, anyway. When you said it out loud,
wait a second.
Your mother says what?
Hike with Mike. I've been singing 2 and a 3 bad all day.
Yeah.
Me too, actually.
People always ask me, do you play their music while you're right? Because I can't use the music or else I won't be able to monetize the video, and I have to monetize the video. We make a living doing this. We pay the rent with this. And I always go, I can't because I'm too busy listening to myself and seeing if I've made mistakes. Because you're working so fast with, if you look at like the 5 replacement singers, I think it's back there, who didn't work out. Like Chase puts in, he spends 5 hours producing one of those videos, just one. Shannon writes it, I voice it, he produces it, and there's a lot of hours. Then you look and you go, oh look, we got 300 hits. But sooner or later, and we've also had some that went viral and got 600,000 hits. But it's luck of the draw sometimes.
Mike Kaminsky says, appreciate your interview with Kasim Sultan. Of course, he had the connection with Meatloaf. Carl S. said,
he had the connection with Todd Rundgren. Todd Rundgren brought him in because he was playing with Todd. And but he really did have a nice connection with Meatloaf after, and toured with him after too. So
Carl S said, I remember behind the music with Meatloaf. And
I love those behind the music things. And one of the things, sorry, Shannon, one of the things I'd like to sort of get into, and I like what the Professor of Rock does. He creates a mood. That's why I really like Professor of Rock. He's got that kind of, he's very consistent when he does these videos. If you haven't checked out his channel, he does really well. He creates a mood when he goes down there and he's doing his thing. And I'm going, that's the kind of body language that we would use when we were talking to each other in high school, right? And you got to create a mood. And the behind the music created a mood, consistently created that, no matter who they were talking about.
DJ H Record Hound said, I have a promo LP of Meatloaf doing the whole Battle of Hell live.
Wow.
Live.
Yeah. There were so many good things. My ex-boss, my first radio boss from 83 to 85, 86, Len Tucson has a lot of those. He has a pouch, a Dan Fogelberg pouch that's all made out of light leather, the color of the more lightish goldie pads. And it had Dan Fogelberg on it. It was just the coolest thing. And this was from, I don't know when he got it, but like I said, I started working for him in 83. He's got all this kind of memorabilia stuff. He's the guy who sold me that reel to reel that's always behind me.
John says, one of my highlight concerts was Meatloaf. You can't always walk away and say, man, that was one of the shows I've seen. I've seen Meatloaf on his 1993 Battle of Hell 2 tour in Phoenix. Cheap Trick opened for him.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. That's a cheap trick, eh? I mean, they all, and the thing about Bat Out of Hell, like Hot Summer Night, right? The fact that they could laugh at themselves. Oh, I bet you say that to all the boys. You know, when Jim Steinman's going back and forth with that actress. I mean, that's one of those moments where you go, what just happened? What's he doing there? And it was so believable and mystical and ominous. And then he says, oh, I bet you say that to all the boys at the end. And then they go right into the song. And I mean, God, oh, that was so beautiful. What a moment. That was my favorite song, by the way, off that album. Then I got into Paradise a little bit more.
Paul says John Steinman was a big
Jim Steinman.
Jim Steinman was a big part of Meatloaf's success. He needs to be a big part of that documentary.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And we lost him too. I remember doing his obituary, and Kasim said that he wasn't really part of the recording as much, but Todd was, Todd always had hit and misses as a producer, but when he put it together really, really well. That's an interview that would be interesting.
Nelson opened up for Meatloaf in 1991.
The Nelson Boys. Oh yeah, you remember them.
Sure
Their
do.
long blonde hair.
Pookie says it's sad to see Meatloaf's old buddy Tim Curry to go through his health situation.
Yeah, Tim Curry, both out of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Tim Curry still does those, those, what do you call those those message things? They'll send you a message. Tim still does those, and you can ask him a question, and he'll answer it for you. And it's nice to see that. I mean, that was a heck of a stroke, but he still has it's still Tim Curry in there. That's encouraging. I'm not sure some of you might be in the medical field, that if you have a stroke of that magnitude, that's got to shorten your life. But I hope, I love Tim Curry's solo music. It was good. Birds of a feather flock together. Yes, they do.
Fraser J says John never disappoints with his amazing shirts. Hope you are all
Thanks.
well. And John, I put in a friend request on Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
And Tim Curry does.
As long as you're not a conspiracy theorist. You know what? I allow people a few conspiracy theories, but like every week it seems like someone wants to be my friend, and that's good. If you watch my videos, of course I'll be your Facebook friends. But unless you're a huge because I just don't need that kind of drama in my life. It's just enough. We have an autistic daughter. She had a massive seizure tonight. Shannon told me not to mention it. Sorry, honey, but I'll say it. It was stressful for us. It was the biggest seizure she's ever had. And we called 911. We haven't done that since the very beginning. And Shannon's freaking out. I'm trying to calm down everybody, but I'm starting to freak out going, oh my God, we're going to lose our daughter. And I'm looking at Shannon after it was all done. I said, Shannon, we don't have to do a live feed tonight. She says, no, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
But that's why I say that. I really don't have a lot of time for people who believe in things that I don't believe in Facebook doctors. And so having said that, please friend me on Facebook by all means. I still have, I think, 1,000 people I can bring on. But if you're, please don't, if you know, you're allowed to be, I just don't want that coming in my life. So there you go. It was a tough night for us too.
Colonel, I got to see Meatloaf at the Cleveland Agora in 91 or 92 when MN, he was getting his chops ready for Bat 2, 11 songs,
Oh,
3
yeah.
hours, best show I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then the other sequel came, and I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that, which we played the living heck out of at QM FM in Vancouver. We were always playing that song, but I won't do that.
Pookie says Danica is a beautiful flower. Cherish your times on here.
Thank you.
It's a little quiet here tonight because she's
She's usually sitting over there
she's
on doing her puzzles or crossword puzzles.
word search.
Word search. Yeah, I know what's going on. But when we were looking down at her tonight, and it was going on, and I'm always telling Shannon to cool it because Shannon hasn't been here for a while because she's working. I work in the home, and she was selling new homes and doing very well outside the home. So they usually happen when she was working. So I've gotten really, really used to it. Plus, I've worked in
So
in
I
homes.
wasn't really privy to seeing a lot of them because it was happening usually when I was at work, and in a sense that was kind of saved me from having to see it. But I'm trying to get more accustomed to seeing them. Just that she's had a lot.
But you're her mother too.
She just had more than usual this month. So we're just hoping it's not a trend to start. So we're gonna try to tweak a few things.
And we're in a province where healthcare is not good, one of the worst in the country. So, like I said, as far as friends request, it's all good. We're going through it, but if you're a conspiracy theorist, I'm sorry, but and if I can't see your profile, that's a lot of people have said, why didn't you accept my friend request? And I always say, it's because I couldn't see your profile. You've got so many privacy settings, and I don't want to ask them, are you a conspiracy theorist? I don't care what political party you belong to, that's fine. But if you believe in things that are a little fooey, that's too much drama for me. I can't do it.
John says, God bless you guys. You both
Thank you.
are awesome parents. Thank you. Mark 187 says, greeting from
Where?
Nepa.
What? Where's that? NEP.
Have you ever seen the Canadian Genesis tribute band musical box? I want to check them out the next time they come away.
Is that the one that's on they're also called musical box. I've seen them, yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you everyone and don't put your questions here, but our Ian Anderson interview was postponed until next week, the 26th, because he had to cancel I don't know what happened to him, but he had to cancel all his...
Next Wednesday at 1.
Is it? Okay. And we're still waiting back from Randy Backman's people who said, yes, you can have an interview, but we're just playing, And we're talking to the people who, Dominic Triano's brother, who turned down Steely Dan, his brother Frank and another gentleman wrote a book on Dominic, and we're going to talk to them on Tuesday. Shannon loves the way I say Tuesday.
Yes. Dwayne says, my eldest sibling, who is 63 this year, has Meatloaf in his record collection. Bad to hell.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, a lot of people, for me, I know there's been different albums, but the Bad to Hell one was basically the one that sort of hit it for me.
Yeah, that's the one. And usually someone was said, oh, I'm not going to subscribe to your channel because you didn't mention that he worked on Ted Nugent's album. I'm going, that's not the first thing that people, I've got 3 minutes, probably less than that on this one. I get in and out of that and people aren't asking, I try to, unless it's a major contribution of something that was highly successful that people know about, and Ted's kind of speaking of conspiracy theories, he's got some issues, but if Ted Nugent would do something significant, I would report on it, that I thought my audience would care about. I'm not going to report on his political stuff because we really try not to do that at all anymore. We did touch on it, but no more.
Siva Prince Feely, today's been a hard and sad day for me too. One of my good friends named George passed away today at 45 due to cardiac arrest.
Oh my God, so sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
45.
So sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's young.
Sorry. Yeah, that's dealing with a lot because there's always that element of it's a crime that shouldn't happen. You know, we feel that way with our rock star heroes all the time, and that's true because we, on some levels, when they're on stage, they seem bigger than life, even though they might be 4 feet tall. But they've given us so much, they filled our world, and we always think that they shouldn't die. I mean, why would they die? They're going to live there forever. They will through the music, but.
42.0 FM The Fever. January 26th. That's next Wednesday, of course. That's my birthday and Eddie Van Halen's birthday.
Cool. One of the things I want to ask Ian Anderson, this is my 5th or 6th interview, I can't remember. I can never keep track. I'm going to ask him what was the hardest album to put together. Was this album, because it's been years since you guys put an album out together, this is a whole new lineup, what was the hardest album to put together? He's had a lot of time, I know. He's a very serious guy, but he's a very, very interesting man. We're also talking to Marillion, Steve from Marillion, coming up, I think, next Wednesday. Interviews are starting to start up again. I almost had David Johnston of the Elton John Band. That would have been a major thing for me, but he, by the time I asked, he was going back on the road with Elton. He didn't have any time. They were rehearsing.
Prog rock dude, Bad to Hell is pretty much the Meatloaf album in every sense of the word. Most people have that album, at least I reckon so. Absolute fantastic, absolute classic. Yeah.
That's the thing when you have a soundbite of 3 minutes, because if you do it any longer on that kind of form, you see that people start dropping unless you have an interview or some magic bullet, something. That's the album you have to talk about. And you know, a few albums later with I'll Do Anything for Love, but I won't do that, because that was monumental and that was #1 in many countries, you know.
Maria Day. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
I hope your arm is doing better.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Steve Perry's 73rd birthday. I know that you follow him closely.
You do follow him closely. Happy birthday to Steve Perry. Talk about musicians who gave us a lot. We just did this thing on, that's a long one. We just did a thing on replacement singers. I think it's back there on the bottom. Replacement singers that didn't work out. Yeah, it's on the right by Shannon's right there. It's on Rock History Book. Check that channel out. I'm not sure why that channel's doing okay. It's making money, but I'm always surprised. And some of the videos on that channel have done better. I think we have one there that's done better than any video on rock history and music, this channel. But like, I think 600,000 hits or something. Eddie Van Halen did 600,000, I think. But on this channel. But there's some great videos, best bands from Chicago, top horn bands. We want to do top 5s a lot. Now keep it nice and short and tight. Well produced by Chase, our son. Every video he's getting so much better.
He's knocking it out.
He's knocking. He does one a day. 5-hour video. It takes 5 hours to do one of these.
Floyd the Barber. Sad too that Meatloaf's collaborator Jim Steinman died just 9 months ago. The end of an era for sure.
Yeah, we just talked about that. We've got Kasim Sultan still around because I just talked to him a month and a half, 2 months ago. Actually, it's probably longer than that because I noticed in the background we had summer in the background. It wasn't summer, it was fall. But you can see in the background when I'm talking to him. It's on this channel. Check it out. So might have been 3 months ago. How time flies. I can't keep track of time because in the video I said, we just talked to him a month ago, but you know how it goes. It just flies by so fast. But, and of course, Todd Rundgren's still around.
Rock child of the 60s. I worked in a theater in high school, and we did the Rocky Horror Picture Show after closing and had the best time. Going to miss Meat. Absolutely loved him.
Well, okay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And ladies, when I went, my friend Jeff, he worked or was working at the movie theater in our small town. And he went, oh, there's this musical thing. I don't know if it's any good. Let's go see it. I can get us in for free. So I walk in there and I'm like, I think 14, 15. And there comes on the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I'm going, like Frankenfurter comes out in his tights and his corset. And I mean, I was an innocent kid. I mean, of course, you're flying in hormones when you're 15, but you're looking at this and you're going, holy, what's going on? What is this? Because if you go in blindly, and then by the time it's 4 years later, I marry my first wife. I would say my favorite wife. No, I don't. I married my first wife, Lynn. She's friends with my next wife. And we go to parties and we're throwing toasts, and we're not parties, to movie theaters, the showings, and we all get dressed up, and I get dressed up as Frankfurter every time. But the first time, Did any of you go into that movie blind? Because if you did, you must have been shocked and going, what kind of movie is this? Like, what's going on? The music was unbelievable. I've got it on DVD downstairs.
Barry says, hey John, trippy shirt.
Thank you.
Blaze says, brother John and sister Shannon, prayers coming at you for the family.
Hey, Blaze, you're a good
Danica
guy.
is so precious, brother. Thank you for the Bernie Ledden interview. Love his candor and intelligence. God bless.
Thank you. That interview, by the way, is on this channel in pieces. That's what this channel does. Everything's shorter, except the live broadcasts are longer, they're an hour. But the pieces of the interview where the title says exactly what he's talking about, which is easier for some people, they're on this channel. But the whole interview is on Rock History Book, which is our sister channel. If you go under channels in our descriptions, you'll go about videos, categories. Go under channels and you'll see Rock History Book right there. And we have amazing videos. I think the content on that channel is as good or better than the content on this channel. It just was started a lot later. I was going to do all that content on this channel. I'm very sorry I didn't. I should have done it. But it's almost too late to turn back now. So, isn't that a Richard Marx song?
What?
That's my favorite Richard Marx song. God, and Prince, Prairie Prince plays drums on it. Man, from the Tubes, he's an amazing drummer. Drums hard.
RJ Jen, good evening all. Tough day indeed.
Hi, RJ.
Rock child of the 60s, LOL. We ordered the film just for our own purposes. The theater didn't want to show the movie, but we did it ourselves on our own time.
Wow. Yeah, you wanted to see it. You know, I saw it. Actually, your sister and I went to see it. You couldn't come for a reason. You couldn't come. That's attractive. You couldn't get out that night. And it was what do you call it? Stage West. Went to Stage West. So we went to see that, and it was unbelievable, but not as good as, the movie's just crazy.
John says, talking highlights of shows over the years, Dio, Iron Maiden, multiple shows, Rod Stewart, another great show, Metallica, Def Leppard, and my wife dragged me to see the Monkees before Davy Jones died.
Oh, wow. Well, you got to see them. Talk about a band. We should do a bands that redeemed themselves. We should do a thing on that. That'd be a good one. Because the Monkees were certainly one of the greatest examples of that, because people didn't take them seriously, even though we laughed at the show. And the real music dudes, wouldn't accept them in the beginning, and a lot of them still don't.
Record Hound said, I used to have the audience participation Rocky Horror 2 LP album, a recording of a New York screening of the film.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, no kidding. It's stuff like that that's very valuable. Thanks for sharing that.
Rock Child of the 60s, John, you do some good interviews.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
loved Meatloaf.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we didn't interview Meatloaf, but you love Meatloaf. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we all did. I didn't buy the album. I had a cassette of it. Someone gave me a cassette of it, and because it was so theatrical, there was a part of me that kind of balked out a little bit. But I really liked. I remember someone lent me the album, and I kept it for a long time until finally, whoever that was, I forget, in high school, said, "Can I have it back, please?" It was a young lady. She wanted it back.
Ryan Cornell, John, do you agree that For Crying Out Loud is a great deep cut from Meat?
Yeah. Not my favorite. I think we're thinking about the same song. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Doug says Meatloaf's Bad at Hell was one of those records for me.
Well, then it was pretty consistent all the way through. When you have an album, it's like Boston was like that, right? It had a consistent sound, and sometimes that can get tiring in some bands, but in other bands it just works really well. The consistent sound of Meatloaf's Bad Out of Hell is, I think, what sold it. And of course, a bunch of great... I mentioned to Kasim Sultan, I said, you know what? Carry On Wayward Son was a very different song than Paradise by the Dashboard Light, but there was an element to both of them where there's so much going on that people would have thought, I would have never thought of that. Oh my God, look what he's doing there. Oh my God, he's taking this turn. I never would have expected that. And as Kasim said, Jim Steinman was a huge baseball fan. That's why they have that baseball scene in there.
Pookie said, John, Prairie Prince plays on 2 Tommy Bolin tracks, Savannah Woman and Wild Dogs.
I didn't know that.
Fabulous.
He's such a... Such an unbelievable drummer. He's like Kenny Arnoff, where he just plays really hard. Chase and I, when Chase was starting to take drumming very seriously, and he was at a much higher level than me, and he was 8. He was 8, and I've been drumming since '78.
It's like, I'll show you. Wait a second, you'll show me.
After a month, I'm teaching him. He was 7. I'm teaching him how to drum.
And he's like, I think we should get you a teacher.
Oh no, he said to me, Dad, can I get a real teacher? I'm like, oh. And of course, a couple of years later, Neil Peart sent him drumsticks because he saw him play Tom Sawyer. Look up Chase Tom Sawyer. He's a little 8-year-old kid.
These kids keep you humble, let me tell you.
Oh my God. I just cracked my neck at that. I felt good.
Pat Michael. Hi, Pat. John and Shannon.
Hey, Pat.
What is your favorite concert of all time? Well, I haven't been to a ton of concerts myself. You've been to quite a few more than I have.
A lot of concerts.
But I would say I would have to say the one concert I went to was Don Henley's End of the Innocents.
And what happened at that show, Shannon?
And that was great.
And what was interesting about that show, Shannon?
Well, that just across the stage, I think over to the left, John was there with his girlfriend, and I was there with my boyfriend, and we didn't know that we were both there at the time. Just that
the uncanny thing is, okay, Vancouver's a big city, so a lot of people went to Don Henley. But the uncanny thing was,
the same night. Like it was
we were there the same night, but I was the stage. I said, where were you sitting? You said right in the middle. I said, oh, we're like in the middle of what? She said, well, in the middle, like it's like a middle all the way from top and then the middle, this way as well. And I said, well, where was the stage to you? And she says, it was to my left. And I went, oh, the stage was to my right. I was right across from you. Of course, I would have never seen you. I could have passed by you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there you go. You were there with Roy, and I was there with Andrew.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to marry this guy over here one day.
Yeah.
No, over here. Ron Chalmers 60 says Steinman was an absolute genius.
Oh, Jim Stein was amazing. Even working with the Celine Dion and crazy.
Mark said, I got to see the Monkees in Atlantic City on June 18th, 2011. It was the last time that I would get to see Davy Jones. This was one of the best concerts that I've been to.
I have to admit, that one really surprised me when I found out he had died, because he was the first to leave us, and I was and then Peter Tork, Michael Nesmith, it was, when Davy died, it was just shocking to me. It was like Neil Peart, because we never knew Neil Peart was sick. The people on the inside knew. Andy Curran, who worked with them at Anthem Records, I asked him. I said, "How could you guys have kept this under the hat? How did you do that? No one knew." And he said, "Because people respected him and they knew he was private." And I talked to people, Mike Levine of Triumph. I said, "Well." I told him what Andy said, and Michael Levine said, "Oh, we all knew." Did you tell anybody? No, God, we never told so. Why would we tell? We can't do that. It was so ultra private. So that's class, man.
Fraser J. John, have you ever thought about putting a drum video up on YouTube?
For my drumming? No, you don't want to hear my drumming. I'm just basically dee 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 dee.
See, it would be my singing and his drumming.
Oh, that's going to be a super group right there. But Shannon sings like she can't sing. She knows she can't sing.
Well,
and it's really cute.
Do I really
no, you sing. You always, and we always encourage her because she sounds really cute.
Because I sound really bad. I sound really bad.
No, I think you're cute. I like listening to you sing.
What do you say now
but
and then?
Can't sing.
Now and then we'll be in the car and he goes, "Well, that sounds kind of in your wheelhouse."
Yeah. She looks at me. She's
some low, quiet singing voice that's like barely there. It's like a whisper.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of stuff in my hair. Look, it's not moving.
John says, bought a couple albums, but seeing him live Paradise by the Dashboard Light, half-hour recording the whole show, 2008.
Yeah, it would have been great to see that, because it's just, I think that song is a moment in time for anyone who listens to it for the first time or sees it in concert for the first time. And I don't watch reaction videos. I just really detest them, because I find it hard that these people haven't heard these songs before, but sure, maybe you haven't. Even through osmosis, someone would have heard this song, but that's one of those songs that it'd be interesting to watch someone or watch and listen to someone just experience that song for the first time.
Rock child of the 60s. This is funny. When I talked to Davy Jones, the very first thing I said to him was, "Oh, Davy," in the Marshall Brady tone. He got a good laugh and said it was flattered some remembered that. LOL.
Oh, Marshall. Oh, it's Maureen McCormick and Susan Day in that era of there's a few other ones, but being a 15-year-old kid in 75, that those girls were in a lot of people's wheelhouse of the ultimate experience. And yeah, did you when you were 15? Who were you in love with?
15? It's so long. I have no idea. It's so long ago.
Richard Marx?
But I was 15?
No, he wasn't around. 85, yeah, he was around.
Oh, barely.
Was he?
Barely.
What was his first album? Richard Marx. Someone look it up, please. What was Richard Marx's first
Not
album?
when I was 15.
That would have been 80, I think 86. Because Repeat Offender would have been 88, wouldn't it have been? I think. I'm trying to think of where I was and who I was dating at the time, and I can kind of figure out what I was doing if I was being bad. I did an evening show back then, so it was hard to be bad, maybe on the weekends.
Lux Deco said, "How big of a superstar was Meatloaf in the 70s?"
Huge. And what set him apart was who he was, his stage show. I mean, if you ever saw him on The Apprentice, I didn't watch that show because of the host, but there's clips of him on The Apprentice making the rounds right now, and I mean, he was just off. I mean, it said unscripted there, but obviously it's a reality show, so they ask you to be bad. If you're the bad one, then be badder. No, be badder than that. So it probably played up for the camera. I don't know, but it's kind of scary.
Richard Marx was 87.
What, the first one?
Yeah, 1987.
Wow, I'm way off. Then Repeat Offender, was that 89? Play the stuff on the radio.
Yeah, Richard Marx, 1987. Richard Marx sang the backing vocals on Chicago 17.
Mm-hmm. Still love Richard Marx. I am always curious on how Richard would do on this channel if I get an interview. And this would be the channel to put it on.
That'd be great. He's like one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Tears for Fears is another one we're going after. Actually, I'll get you to continue pursuing them. Someone tweeted them today saying some nice things about who I am and, well researched and stuff, and tagged Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabal, two main guys in Tears for Fears. So that would be nice if they pulled a Dennis DeYoung where they came to me, which is rare.
Derek, are you in Moncton now?
Yes.
We sure are.
We are. And when our daughter had that big seizure tonight, Shannon's first thought, and I can understand that, she says, "Oh boy, we're in Moncton with the worst healthcare in the we didn't really know completely till we got here. We should have done our research, but it was such an arduous task to get here. We're juggling so many
Well,
things.
we knew it wasn't great. Of course, I did research, right?
But we didn't realize how bad it was, and for us, and so we're here now, and we're going to try and make the best of it. But seriously, I really for a second thought, oh my God, we're going to lose our daughter. That's why we almost never came tonight. And Shannon says, "No, I need to take this off my mind. She's sleeping. She's fine. We have the baby monitor. You can't even hear it, but it's near us. And if she made any sounds, we'd hear it. And you'd hear it too, because it's near us."
Well, hey, John, you didn't say what your favorite concert was, unless it was the same as Shannon's.
What
was your favorite?
The best performer I ever saw was Iggy Pop. And I bought a lot of Iggy Pop music, but he opened for the Pretenders, and it's the greatest performance I've ever seen. Of course, we tend to say the greatest performances when we are close to the stage, and I've said this so many times on live broadcasts. We were with my friend Steve Burgess and I were sitting with the two reviewers of the two major papers because we knew them, and they had extra tickets. They said, "Hey, you guys want to come with us?" We weren't dating them or anything like that. Helen Matella, and I forget the other girl from Vancouver. So we went with them, and we were, I think, in the second row, and they were each reviewing the Pretenders Iggy Pop concert. And we went, and I remember looking at, Iggy was just sweating, and he just, like, the more he sweat, the faster he went. And I went, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. That's just truly, he's just he should be remembered and should be recognized by so many people. He was just amazing. Living and breathing rock and roll.
Eric, hello from South Carolina.
Hey, South Carolina.
Rock child of the 60s.
You got a lot of
heck, I'm a straight female and I had a crush on Marsha Brady, lol.
Yeah, oh wow. And she still looks amazing.
So, Floyd the Barber John, want to know who your celebrity crush was at 15?
Well, that was it. I was Marsha Brady, Susan Day of the Partridge Family.
And theirs was Valerie Bertinelli.
Oh, Valerie, but that for me was the 80s. Oh, no, that was the 70s. Of course it was the 70s. Yeah, I was in love with Brett. And then one day on the show, she mentioned she loved Elton John. And I remember going, what's meant to be? She loves Elton John too. And Elton John was my favorite artist. Still is of all time. He's my favorite artist.
Celebrity crush? Well, way back in the day, I thought Scott Baio was cute.
Scott Baio's crazy.
Well, at the time I thought,
nuts.
well, Happy Days went on to do his own.
Scott Baio believes in a lot of crazy conspiracy theories.
Well, I just thought I would just put it in
You
my
would have gone
two
down the
bits
rabbit hole with him.
What?
You know, Joni loves Chachi, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving on.
Repeat offender, Richard Marx was 1989.
There you go. Yeah, that makes more sense. The last year I was in Edmonton. That was a great year for me. And then all of a sudden, our radio station was bought out. I had a show that was incredibly popular in the evening. I was getting like hundreds of calls sometimes. It was insane. I didn't even have time to do my freaking job half the time. And then I couldn't answer all the calls. And I remember that came out. And back then I was doing a new age show in Windham Hill and Narada and Higher Octave and Hearts of Space. They were doing so well. And then the station was sold and I went and it was gratifying. They got so many hate emails and whatever happened to John. Then I went and did the same thing for Chum in Vancouver. They hired me like right away as soon as I moved there. But it was nice.
John, would you want to interview 80s rock legend Ron Keel? I can hook you up.
I don't know. Who is he? But let me see it written down. I don't know who that is. Was he solo or was he in a band? Name sounds familiar, but that's it.
Floyd the Barber, hey, have you ever reached out to Rick Springfield? He got dismissed as fluff, and he is a really good musician.
He is. When I was interviewing Beat Birtles, who of course was in a band with him, in Australia way back when, I asked him. I said, I should, because he was meeting with them on Zoom the next day because they were putting the band back together. I said, can you hook me up? And he says, yeah, of course I can. But I never got back to him. And I got Beeb's information. Almost all the artists we talk to, we have their personal. That's why I'm always deathly afraid of losing my phone. I mean, that I have to code to get in. But almost everyone I've interviewed for the last 15, 20 years, all their home numbers are there, and their email address, and all our texts back and forth. Because now and then you get along with an artist. They'll go, hey man, I really enjoyed what you did. Thanks a lot.
Rockchild of the 60s, worst healthcare in Canada. You have to be rich in America for any type of healthcare, bad or good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just coming from out west and then moving more out east.
It's
just lagged. And to be fair to the situation, we're also in a province that's a lot smaller now. So a lot of the resources, it's going to be more limited. So it takes longer to get your foot in the door for having specialists and whatnot. So. And
Shannon has an autoimmune disease, and there's things that she's got to keep up to. Even though I look like the one that's falling apart, but she's not. She's not. But what I'm saying is
you're holding your own quite nicely.
No, but thank you. And Shannon looks a lot younger than she is, and she's 11 years younger than me. But you can't judge. You don't know. So she's got issues where she's going, oh, I'm going to have to go in a lot later to get that test, because of how slow it is.
Teddy Bates, hey Teddy, did you ever interview Jimmy Jameson of Survivor?
No, never got a chance to.
Siba says, I remember seeing Prince live March 30th, 85, right with Purple Rain in New York. It was a great concert. I still miss him after almost 6 years after his death. He was my favorite artist.
Yeah, they're ready to divide up the money because now they know exactly what the estate is worth through family and friends. There's going to be Prince music released long after we're dead because he had vaults of stuff, and if it's there, you know, I used to hate it when people used to do duets with dead people. I still don't like it. There's a part of me that says it's just not right. They never agreed to do that. But then you can take that argument. It's like, what, he didn't want it released, so should it be released? Well, at that point, he's not around anymore, and they can do it. They're gonna do it. I don't like listening to stuff that shouldn't be released, but then again, I buy a box set with stuff that our songs are half done, right? So I'll always like to go back and forth with something like that, going, yeah, I can see what they're doing, but what about here, you know?
Mark says, I saw Iggy Pop in concert in Philadelphia. Didn't care for any of the music, but he was so energetic, he made Mick Jagger look like Perry Como.
Oh yeah, well said. That's funny. Who said that?
Mark Zapasso.
Mark, thank you. That's funny. Thanks for making us laugh. Well, you know, Perry Como was known as the guy who sounded like he was sleepwalking when he was singing. And don't get me wrong, Perry Como was my favorite crooner. Because Merry Christmas Music by Perry Como, released I think in 59 or 60 or 61, is my favorite Christmas album of all time.
Paul Sir says, Keith Richards and Ozzy outlived Meatloaf? How do you explain that?
Yeah, well said. Well, you know, the luck of the draw, you know, you never know what's in your DNA. I don't want to say it because I'll get demonetized with any words, but he didn't want to get that's the word. He didn't want to get that, and that was his choice. It's just, you know, I read every day on people who don't want to, and their relatives who are left behind saying it's just one or two, or
Derek says Halifax rules, John.
Halifax, we've thought of Halifax.
But we came over here to New Brunswick.
I have to get Chase to. I gotta get Chase to bring the dog out. Hold on.
But we came over here
Chase,
to New
sir.
Brunswick for John's family.
Chase.
So, but yes, haven't been over to Halifax. Would love to go.
Yeah, we can't even go.
We can't even travel anywhere. Wanted to go to PEI, Cape Breton, a lot of the
Chase.
eastern provinces we still wanted to see. So we're still holding out for perhaps this summer. So we're sort of crossing our fingers there. So we'll see how that goes. Pookie says, Scott Baio and my sister-in-law's mothers are old friends. Both of their mothers were best friends. Wow. Now that is a small world.
It's amazing how the levels of separation, you know, the Kevin Bacon thing.
Totally.
He's in the middle of a game. He'll come in a second.
Rockchild of the 60s, Richard Marx has been catching all the trolls on his Facebook, people whining about his wife and talking about her, people that don't even know her.
Why don't they like her? What is it about? What's her name?
Daisy.
Daisy Fuentes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had anything against her. She seemed like a nice person. I don't know anything about her really.
Maria says Richard Springfield and Richard Marx have gone all out in concert together.
Oh, is that right?
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
Canadian question, how do you start the car in the morning when it's minus 15 Fahrenheit?
It's not as cold here as people think.
It is not, and we have a car starter, so we just...
Well, she has one in her car.
The car, so it hasn't been a problem.
But I have a steering wheel warmer in my car. We don't drive my car. I have a sedan. She has an SUV.
Fraser, you asked this question before, Shannon. Don't you think John looks like Hugh Jackman?
Oh yeah, I know.
I don't see it. I don't see Hugh. Like I said, at one time I saw Robert Downey Jr., but
not anymore at all.
Hugh
No,
Jackman.
I don't see that anymore.
Floyd the Barber, John, have you watched the Beatles documentary Get Back?
I can't watch it. I only watched the first 15 minutes.
I know you
It's
said
so
that
hard on me.
before.
You still have to go?
I don't know. Yeah, you might want to take him out. Say hi, Chase. Come say hi.
Surfer Boy, sorry I missed this. Sad
you're-
day for sure, and it was.
Our son, I always say, you're gonna have to take over the company when I go 6 feet under. But he won't even come on. You okay? Can you come and say hi for just a second?
That's a great idea.
He won't.
He's on a mission to take the dog out. The dog looks rather comfortable here now, like he doesn't
This
want to
guy.
go.
Oh, he's nervous. He doesn't want to go out. He doesn't know what's going on. He always catches Shannon on the lips. I said, he just wiped his butt,
Mark says, I got to meet Meatloaf 2 nights in a row in Philadelphia in 1994. Nice guy. Super shocked to hear the news.
Yeah.
And especially when you have an opportunity to actually physically meet the person face to face.
Well, with us, we met Tony Bennett,
Yeah.
and I can't say that I had a few Tony Bennett albums, but we were backstage talking to him. Like Shane looked at me, she says, "Oh my God, it's Tony Bennett! I can't believe it." And Tony had to retire from the music because he's dealing with some memory issues and things, and it's serious. He called you a pretty lady. That's nice. She's reading.
I'm trying. Yes, sorry.
She tries to proofread them first to make sure they're not. Some people have said some inappropriate things to Shannon.
Paul Harris, watch the classic album story Bad at Hell on the Roku channel. Features Meat and Jim Steinman.
Oh, cool. I like those kind of things. I don't always have a chance to. Sometimes I'll watch them if I'm interviewing someone. Like I'm doing extra research on Ian Anderson, even though I've interviewed him 4 or 5 times before. Like I said, I can't remember how many times. But because you just never know, this could be the last time you have a chance to talk to the guy. Oh yeah, we've got Steve Hackett, I think, coming up again. Speaking of, I've interviewed Steve Hackett more than anybody else. Because I go on, he'll go on with me, and they'll go, "Hi, John, you looking well?" I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Prog Rock Dude, Get Back is great, even despite the very long runtime.
Yeah, some people said it didn't have to be that long. I will go back to it. I mean, I've got that Beatles documentary that was released with the rarities a few years ago, and I was trying to get Chase to watch it, but halfway through the first episode, he kind of got bored, even though he loved the Beatles at the time. He kept playing drums and learning all the Ringo drum parts. He just said, "I don't need to know all this information." But he was 10 at the time, and he's 18 now, so.
Wazza Oz, hey, from Gold Coast, Australia. Question.
Hi.
What's your favorite Australian New Zealand band?
Well, you love In Excess.
Very much.
And I love In Excess too. A Little River Band and John Farnham. Well, not John Farnham with the Little River Band as much. I like John Farnham a lot. Age of Reason, even though Whispering Jack was so much bigger, I know, but Age of Reason to me just hit me more. I get the voice, I get the what with that on Whispering Jack. I get how big that was. It certainly didn't make a dent here. And we're going to do a series, by the way, of artists who were big in their own countries but never separated. We're starting in England. There was a lot of bands that were big in England that never made a dent in North America. We don't say US anymore because it's dividing somehow by saying that, which is so sad because it's my favorite country. But we just say North America because a lot of things that were hits there are hits here.
Mark says, Get Back is a gift from God. I will be celebrating my 50th anniversary in May.
Hey, congratulations.
Of being a Beatles fan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Half a century. I'm 60 now, so you can do the math. That's a long time.
Well, you missed a lot of it. You're like me because I'll be 62 in a week and a half. And I remember I was 7 when Sgt. Pepper's came out, and someone played me in Montreal before we left. So I was born in Montreal from 60 to 67. We lived there the year of Expo. We left, and someone had played me some Beatles, and I think it was the doo-woppy, more the early Beatles, the boy band Beatle. I don't think it was. I would have remembered, I think, even though I didn't know a lot about music. He said, "Oh," the kid said, "Oh," and it was all in French because I was totally French then. You got to come up to listen to this band. They're the biggest thing in the world. That's all I have to say about that.
Paul Harris says, tell Ian Anderson my cousin named his boat Cross-Eyed Mary.
Oh.
That'd be good. Fraser J says, John, have you ever watched David Foster off the record? It's amazing.
No. That's not the one where he doesn't mention Umberto Gatica at all, is it? Is that the one? There's a documentary on David where, and Umberto was his engineer for a lot of years, but there's one thing that came out where he doesn't mention him, and I'm not sure why. They must have had a falling out, but it's kind of like mentioning doing a Beatles thing without mentioning John Lennon. It would make no sense. So I'm not sure if that's the one.
Derek says, John, do you have any interest at all in being interviewed by 95.7 Halifax, their morning show?
Why? Do you know who they are? Are you one of them? I'm not sure why they'd interview me. That's all I'm saying.
Ryan,
And if they're not a Bell Media station, I have to be careful because I work for Bell Media in Canada. You know what I mean? I'm not think that's a conflict of interest, but as far as I know, they're not a Bell, because our Bell Media stations in Halifax would be Move, which is the station I work for in Vancouver, and Virgin are the two, and you're only allowed 2 FM stations per city and 2 AMs in Canada. So I'd have to ask. Unless you're part of the group. If you're part of the morning show, then reach out to me and sure. But I'm not sure why they want to talk to me. Hell, my own station has never talked to me about what I do. They've never said, "Hey, we're going to do a thing on YouTube. Come on," you know. And my station actually does. My YouTube channel does better than the Bell YouTube channel does. That's weird, but I haven't checked in 6 months, but it did.
Ryan Cornell, will cassettes make a comeback?
They're saying that, and they're saying CDs. They're saying, well, records. They're saying CDs
Well,
had the
of course,
highest sales
vinyl.
last year than they had in years. So, and cassettes continue to lose their quality, but that didn't stop anyone from listening to them.
So we're gonna be back with the Sony Walkmans and stuff like that.
Oh my
cassette pouch.
Did you have an actual
course-
Walkman?
of course
You had like
I
the
did.
actual Walkman?
I had the actual Sony Walkman.
Oh, I didn't have that.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Okay,
That's
I
too
was
much.
styling.
Well, you were styling anyway.
Great.
I'm gonna pull out the pictures.
No pictures.
I'm gonna pull out your pageant pictures. We got in our bedroom, and she said, "I don't want that in my bedroom."
No.
We have a Miss Penticton pageant picture with Shannon, and then there's a modeling picture where she modeled for 5 years. She couldn't go to Europe because she wasn't tall enough, even though she is 5'9", but you have to be taller than that. And yeah,
That was many years ago.
you look amazing.
Thank you. David Foster documentary, where can I find that?
I don't know. Good question. Whoever mentioned that before. David Foster is an amazing man. I mean, he makes everything that he does sound like David Foster, but that's a great sound. That's an unbelievable sound. I love what he did with I even like what he did with the payolas. A lot of people didn't like that. He did it with Anne Murray. He produced Anne Murray, Gordon Lightfoot, and some people didn't like that because Gordon Lightfoot sounded like David Foster. I still liked it. I've loved most of the things. I'm not a big Celine Dion fan, but he's one of the greatest producers of all time. And a lot of people thought he bastardized Chicago. I didn't think so. When bands changed their sound, I kind of went with it most of the time.
Oh, Starry Bear, hard to hear you. Turn up the mic.
Oh, we don't have a mic. We're sorry. You have to turn up your volume because we're not using a mic tonight. Because that's just the way it is. You don't want to see me up too close. That's just scary. Shannon, yes. Shannon, no wrinkles. Edwards.
I don't know.
We're gonna wrap things up.
We do. Trying to think if there's anything else here.
Thank you for being with us. It's been a tough day.
Yeah, Rock Child of the 60s. I love digging into David Foster's brain when he's writing a song.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's
Yeah. Yeah. Those are, you should do a channel. Those are the kind of like sound bites that people like as that strips away everything when you say things like that. Because there are certain questions that are cliche you ask artists, but they always do well. And they might be cliche, but they have to be asked. And that's what you just said there is one of those things of going, what's going through in your mind? Like do you get a melody? Do you like wake up at 4 a.m?
yeah. Where does the inspiration come from?
Yeah.
Like what?
Is it a real story? Do you break up with someone? Ian Anderson said these songs came out of sometimes sheer boredom. Quote, sheer boredom. That because he said, I would be in a hotel room and I didn't party. So I'd be in a hotel room and I'd want to do something and there's nothing on TV. And I'd write a song. I went, oh my God, what? And Thick as a Brick, by the way, turns 50 this year. So that's a thing we're going to talk to him about. Aqualung we talked about quite a bit. I got a lot of sound bites with that. I'll see if I can get a few more. Anyway, we got to wrap things up.
Blaze said, Brother John, I have a picture of my wife when she modeled in the 60s in Boston. It's hanging in my bathroom. She's incredible even at 72.
That's so nice. Oh, that made my night.
Hey, I had to.
Yeah. Shannon doesn't want those pictures in there, but I always tell her, I'm gonna show them.
No pictures.
I'm gonna show them.
Absolutely not. DBC
Do you guys want to see the
105.
pictures?
John, do you do this every Friday?
Yeah.
We try to get on every Friday.
At this
for sure.
8 p.m. Atlantic time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, we do this every Friday night. We almost never did it because our daughter had a
They say
seizure.
is our volume low because of a heart
There's
attack?
nothing we can do. We'd have to. We'll do it. I'm not sure why. I'll have to check my mic volume on this next week. So sorry about that. But we've got to wrap it up.
Hope your daughter's feeling better. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us. All the names and people that we recognize, we know, the newcomers.
I know so many people come back and subscribe to our
appreciate
channel.
it. Yes, please do.
You know what we sound like right now? The people with the Ginzu knives on these fairs. Oh, no, Ginzu. Two for you.
Bye, Barry.
Can I put
Good
you down
night.
for 3?
Thank you.
See you guys. Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.